You saw a man taking a piss on
on
a guy's butt, not even in the crack, on the butt.
on the
So it was
butt
just
as
kind
if
of
the butt was the
falling to the side like
toilet.
a fountain.
Didn't even touch the
Jesus.
cheeks. Didn't spread it. Just peed on the butt. And the man who
Why,
was
why do you think I'm spending so much time in the Hamptons? I mean, you think I want to be in the city? It's
well,
disgusting. I'm a
I'd
clean
stay
freak.
as far away from that shithole. It's the opposite of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's just you walk in, there's no music, there's no dwarves, there's no
Oompa
candy
loompa
bars.
doopity doo.
Hey, it's Herbert. And you're listening to the About Last Night podcast, you slippery little son of a bitch.
It is so great to be here. I got to tell you. I mean, first of all, Dr. Phil, let me tell you. They say that you didn't have hair, and something about you looks different. I mean, you've been taking like a pill because you look amazing. It's spiking up. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm taking this. It's Propecia alopecia
Right.
chia. It's like it's a little chia pet and a little there's hair plugs in there, but it's a wig, Howard. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a wig.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, we've known each other a long time, as you just said. Now that you have this hair, and listen, I'm no stranger. I have a head full of hair. We all know this. It's my prized possession.
Hey, does the carpet match the drapes, by the way?
You don't want to talk about my cock. It's a small cock. We've been over this, but let me ask you.
Fair enough.
Okay, my question for you is this. Now that you have more hair, do you feel more sexually confident? Do you feel you can conquer a woman better now with the hair? That's the question.
That's a great question. And, I'm going to respond to that with a series of answers. First of all, I've never been too confident in the bedroom, Howard. I've been I'm a people pleaser and I'm a giver, but I don't know when, I don't know when to give, like I'm not good at reading the room in the bedroom. So
wait, hang on a second. Robin, do you have any insight into this? When should Dr. Phil be given? I agree. Robin just said you should give it all the time. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, well, look, again, I wish I had a bigger tongue. I wish I had more stamina. Right. I used to do a lot of pills, in college.
Wait a second. You were taking pills like for your cock? Take me through that. What do you mean by that?
More like aspirins and over-the-counter,
Right.
I was in a fraternity for a short time, and one of the pledge tasks was to take Plan B with Pepto-Bismol and a laxative. So you would basically shit out whatever potential baby was inside of you. It was a weird frat trick.
Now, I got to tell you, I'm vomiting a little bit in my mouth hearing this description. But I got to tell you, Dr. Phil, let me tell you, if you want a real valuable piece of medical advice, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm a doctor of radio. But let me tell you, here's what you can do to improve not only your sex drive, your sexual abilities, your ability to love a woman. And I'm telling you, this has worked with my relationship with Beth. I know it's true. Transcendental meditation. If you meditate, there's an energy. And I talked about this with Jerry on his show. Comedians in cars doing things. You got to just breathe twice a day. It's crazy. It's a life-changing thing.
Yeah. Now, but what do you think about like inviting more people in the bedroom to stimulate? Because I need an audience, Howard. I need an audience, and I think that might be my problem. Is that it's just my wife and I, and I sometimes get I don't get excited enough because there's not nobody to perform for.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
Does your wife like the mustache? Does it tickle? Is that what is she into that? Does she like the facial hair?
It's the only way I can get her to come, Howard, is to rub my mustache anywhere on her body, whether it be the vagina or the belly button, which sometimes I'll admit I've gotten those two mixed up.
Hang on a second. You're telling me now, Robin? Have you heard about this? A woman, you can make a woman sexually excited by mustache to vaginal interaction. I've never heard this. What would that be called? Like mustachio? What would that be
mustachio?
called?
Yeah,
Mustachio.
well, I think so. I think there's a
right.
name for it. It's lip to lip.
Mustachio.
Mustachio.
Right.
Yeah, some sort like there's probably a
Right.
Batman villain that it could be named after. Mustachio. But I do think the belly button is an unused hole, Howard, that we're not
Right.
accessing to our fullest potential. Someone real famous said, and I want you to guess who it was, who said every hole in the human body has a purpose. Who do you think said that?
Deepak Chopra.
That's exactly right. And this is what I mean by that is that if you have a hole and it's just sitting there, well, it's like put something in it.
I got to tell you.
Yeah, it's a party favor.
It sounds just like something Deepak would say. There's another guru, a health and wellness guru, who has a great similar quote. It goes like this: plug all your holes on a daily basis. Your life will. Tony Robbins. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm a big Tony Robbins. That's one guy that's not even there because that guy's making his own breakfast. And first of all, I don't even think he sleeps. That guy might be the biggest guy I've ever.
He's a big guy.
He's on my hall pass list too, and I'm not even gay, but I just want to see what it feels like to receive him. Go ahead.
Now, Dr. Phil, let me ask you. But talking about Tony Robbins. Now, Dr. Phil. First of all, what are you drinking there? Is that black piss? What is that? What are you drinking?
It's a little. Well, it's the hotel coffee. I've never been a big advocate of any of the snacks they sell here at the La Quinta Inn, but I will say this: their coffee's getting a little better because they actually give a shit. Most La Quintas I stay at.
And well, speaking of shit, that's what that coffee it looks like actual turd in a cup. But I'm sorry to cut you off, Dr. Phil. We were talking about Tony Robbins.
Robbins.
You're a doctor, right?
Sure.
You're a doctor. So let me ask you. He does this stuff with the coals. They put the hot coals on the back of these Tony Robbins events that motivate you. Do you think that's batshit crazy? Because I think that you got to be fucking insane to do such a thing. Put a hot rock on your back, step on him.
Right. I think any way to motivate, life is all about choices. We wake up every day contemplating ending it all. And I think that, if you can wake up with a purpose, with a sense of drive and with a list of goals.
Right.
But Tony Robbins is a guy where you go, I'm not going to be better than my last day because I'm Tony fucking Robbins. But if you work at a cheese shop or an Arby's or a Lady Foot Locker,
right.
Yeah, I get why you're depressed, But I think that if you look in the mirror and ask yourself three things: who am I? Where do I want to be in 20 years? And who touched you?
Right. Now, Dr. Phil, let me ask you about
who touched you?
You're going to cut this. Now, Dr. Phil.
No, we're keeping it all in.
Touching, I mean, if you could have one person on the planet just tickle you all over your body, just touch you wherever who would that person be? The dream touch for Dr. Phil. Who's it going to be?
That is a great question. That's like one of those, if you could be stranded on a desert island questions, like who's your, because, First off, Howard, I'm not a very ticklish man. I'm a fairly ticklish woman, but I don't. There's parts of my body that I don't even like to look at, let alone let someone see. My armpits aren't that ticklish. Underneath the knees, fairly ticklish. If you put 2 fingers in the back of my throat, I'll gag, but it's more of a tickle gag. Does that make sense? Which is why every time I go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor and he puts one of those tongue depressors in the back of my rectal area, as soon as I go, he goes, well, I guess you're straight. And I go, you didn't know before that? We'll be right back. But I think to answer your question, I think that if you get tickled once in your life, it shouldn't be consensual. Tickling is something that should happen spontaneously, unexpectedly, and should help you learn who you are, by facing your fears. Getting tickled by a stranger is just like rolling acid on a roller coaster. It's not what you planned for, but it's your birthday, so deal with it.
Now, let me ask you something about the tickling. Now, for me, tickling induces an obscene amount of pain. I don't want to have that uncomfortable sensation. I mean, it's like looking at me naked. I don't want you to stare at my cock. I don't want you to look at my penis. It makes me uncomfortable. Same with tickling. Now, if you had to be tickled, because apparently you like getting tickled sexually, is that correct?
Sure.
So if you had to be tickled in one area to really get you off, what body part, Dr. Phil, would sexually excite you the most to be tickled at?
Probably the top of my cock. Either that or my the small of my back. Or my pussy or my crack. We'll be right back. You watching the Olympics? Apparently, they're all stuck inside. I keep seeing Bob Costas every 10 minutes. He's like, hey, these guys are eating 25-year-old chicken wings and they're falling off the snow globes.
All right.
So I'd say top of the cock. Answer your question. Top of the cock. Because I'm a sensations guy. You know, I'm a Temptations man.
So top of the
boy.
Now, what is it about the top of the cock per se that gets you off? Because a lot of men like their balls tickled, right? That's a thing, like kind of a prostate massage. Now you're a top of the cock guy, so you're a top.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like, in Ireland they say top of the morning to you. Well, or if you're in a band, you want to be at the top of the charts. So started from the bottom, now we're here. I think you got it all wrong. We're starting at the top, and that's where the fun begins, because again, I think if you like your balls tickled, Howard, that there's something happened to you, because my balls, first of all, they're constantly sticking together. They're constantly, they have to, every show on the Dr. Phil show.
Wait. Hang on a second.
Go ahead.
You're saying if your balls, sorry. Wait a second. You're telling me.
By the way, there's no edits here. We're rolling. So if you can't, if you break, hey, we're rolling and the show must go on. Do you know how many times I've had a guest queef live on air during the Dr. Phil show, and I go, keep it in. So
you think that if you like getting your balls tickled, that means something's wrong with something happened.
Something happened to you, yeah. Because what
does that mean?
Well, because you didn't do it to yourself. Because no young boy's sitting around tickling their own balls. You play with your dick, but you don't tickle your own balls. That's freaking nature shit. Someone had to tell you.
Hang on, Dr. Phil. Listen, you're going on some weird medical rants. My question for you is this. Do you think it is not, why does it have to be weird? What's wrong with a nice ball tickle? I think it might feel kind of good, a little flick. That might be a fun thing.
Well, now we're talking about two different things, Howard, a tickle or a flick, okay? What is it? I'll take a flick any day of the week. I'll start my morning with a flick before I get my coffee and brush my teeth. But a tickle, you got to get to know me first, find out my second favorite color, okay? But to your point, I think there is something in that region of our body that's the most insatiable.
Now, what is it about? What is it? You say the region of the body. Now, Robin, can you give any insight into this? What is it about that particular region of the body, the anus, the butthole area that smells like absolute shit? What is it about the grossest part of the body that gets us the most off? Because the tickling of the prostate, that area, it can get a guy hard like that microphone you're holding. It's crazy.
Right. And it's, I mean, I'm easy too. You know, thankfully, I haven't needed pills for quite some time to get things going.
Jesus.
If anything, I have too much blood.
When
down there.
when you say easy, I mean, how long does it take you to just be done, to be finished? I mean, you don't have good stamina? Is that the problem? You're not a racehorse?
No, well, that's the thing. It's like you can't have it all, right? Like I get hard like that, but it's coming out like that. So it's from start to finish, Howard. It's like, you know, a gust of wind to get it up, and then, you know, the toaster goes off and my strudels are ready, and I've already finished by then. So we're talking, you know, 30 to 45 seconds. You're more of a who guy, Pop-Tart guy?
So I was going to say Pop-Tart, not toaster. But my question is, you talk about 45 seconds. I mean, you have
it's not
kids.
Long.
How did you please a woman? How did you ever get married? I mean, sure, you're rich and famous and you're a doctor, but 45 seconds. I mean, you ever please a woman? I mean, that's terrible.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Rich and famous helps. Also, no woman, if you would ask most women, Howard, none of them want anything longer than a couple minutes anyway, because they got shit to do. You know, they got emails to check and dogs to walk, and they got to put their clothes on, and, you know, they got to go online and get a job, and, you know, call their dad back. You know, there's a lot going on. You can't just be fucking them all day. So, but, you know, this is what I talk about in my book, Hurry Up, you know?
Right. You know, if I were to write a book, it'd be called Slow Down, because we're just and that's why I do the TM. Listen, I was in psychotherapy for years. I talk about it in my book, Howard Stern Comes Again. It's right back there. And let me tell you, back in the 80s, in the 90s, I was fucking crazy. I was insane. Much like the semen floating around your testicles is just all over the place, right, Dr. Phil? I was out of control. I was jealous. I was comparing myself constantly to other radio programs. And let me tell you, you got to just step back and realize it's about slowing down. That's the truth. That's what I've learned. I mean that.
No.
And slowing down also applies to the bedroom. 45 seconds is frankly too fast. It's too aggressive. It's too much. You got to pace yourself.
I couldn't agree more. More. And that's why I don't worry about Valentine's Day. And I want to ask you, is that a holiday in the Stern household that is highly coveted? What is your favorite holiday? And which holiday, Howard, do you feel the most pressure to provide and really make an impact on? Because for me, Valentine's Day has always been about one thing, you know, showing up.
What's that? Tell me.
Showing up with a big fucking stuffed bear and filling it with candy. And I give my wife, I give her one of those BB guns, one of those children's BB guns. And I tell her, you shoot that. Because she always talks about, you know, she goes, Phil, when I'm, you know, before I die, I want to shoot an animal. And I go, well, how about a stuffed bear?
Hang on a second. You're telling me that your wife wants you to shoot an animal? What's happening with you? That's crazy.
Well, that's her dream. That's not my dream, Howard.
It's the exact opposite of my marriage to Beth. Do you know how many cats my wife has? It's insane. We are animal freaks. We are truly animal freaks. They're not talking about killing animals. That's crazy.
Well,
I mean, me and Ricky Gervais, we love these
metaphorical bear, Howard. It's not a real bear. I think
even talking about a metaphorical, but you got to distinguish, because those are beautiful creatures.
Are you telling me that you could get in trouble for shooting a stuffed animal?
Well, listen, I mean, have you heard about the metaverse? What's happening? There are bots sexually harassing other bots. So you never know what can happen. I mean, real life, fiction, stuffed animals, metaverse, the world is going crazy.
I mean, I can't keep up, Howard. I'm still on the new Mighty Ducks on Disney Plus, and everyone's talking about crypto and Bitcoin. And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out if John Stamos is gay. So, you know, there's too much to think about, you know, and tweet about. I'm trying to keep up with everyone's on the keto diet, and, you know, is Joe Rogan, you know, real, or, you know?
I got to ask you about this Rogan thing. Now, hang on. Now, settle down. Now, hang on. Robin and I was talking about this Rogan thing. he's in the news all the time, constantly. Now,
Sure.
people say that there's a beef between me and Joe, and that he's the new me. That's what they're saying. Now, I couldn't disagree more because to me, first, I don't want Joe to get canceled. I got to make that perfectly clear. But he says some things that are fucking batshit crazy.
He really
My
does.
question for you, what do you think about Joe, Dr. Phil? What do you think about him? I mean, because you're a doctor, you're a medical man, and he's saying that vaccines don't work, basically. So what do you think?
Well, I think, it's, one of my first girlfriends said to me, Phil, opinions are like taints. Everyone's got
Right.
one, but nobody
Right.
wants to see it. And Facebook
Right.
and Twitter has allowed everyone to have a voice. And I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. I listen to his podcast. I've been on his show. But I do
Right.
think that you get into murky waters when you start mixing, first of all, if I were to, it's easy to throw hate and judgment from your keyboard. If you were to see Joe Rogan live in
Right.
the flesh and you'd see him, strangling an elk and drop kicking a punching bag, you might think twice before
Right.
you said, "Hey, I disagree."
Do,
And
do you really think he could strangle an elk? Because that's mind boggling. How is that
I
even
think the
possible?
elk-
How
I
does
think
one
the-
do this?
I think the elk is a fan of Joe Rogan and shows up at his house and is some sort of fucking freak and says, "Strangle me. It's the only way I can get hard."
No. What the elk says is strangle me and lightly rub the tip of my cock.
The tip of my cock or the top of my cock. Give me
Tickle
a
it.
flick or a tickle.
You get to want to tickle it. The flip or a tickle, not a flip, but a tickle. Now, hang on a sec. Rogan's big into the whole fighting universe.
Sure.
Right? The whole WME, whatever the hell, not WME, that's the
UFC,
other thing.
yeah.
And my question, UFC, WME, CAA, all UTA, all
They
those
all blur
places.
together.
Hang on a second.
AT&T,
The FBI,
WNBA,
CIA, all that
TMI,
stuff. Now, hang on a second.
UTI, yeah.
That's right. Now, STD. Now, chlamydia. Now, hang on a second. So, my question is, what would you pay to see a Howard Stern, Joe Rogan fight?
Whoa. Now that is talk about a teaser. We'll be right back. Let's keep it here and figure this out. That is, I think,
Right.
there's a lot of fights I would like to see. There's a lot of fights I would like to be in, Once I would like to fight the Island Boys. I would like to fight the Island Boys. I'd like to put the Island Boys up against Joe Rogan just because I'd like to see them get their asses kicked.
Hang on. I know I said earlier that I knew about the metaverse, but I'm not fully up on what all these things are. So what are the Island Boys? Are the guys from TikTok, right? With
They're
the weird
the TikTok
hair.
guys. Yeah, they've got crazy
Right.
hairdos and tattoos, and I think fake mouth contraptions. They're just pieces of shit.
Right.
But they got big on Cameo, and they made one song that was not even a song. It was more of a melody that was just, they're just fucking.
Right.
This country is
Yeah,
great.
Dr. Phil, I'm remembering how the song goes. Can I sing it for you?
Oh, please, yeah, please, fucking ruin my day.
Because I'm an island boy and I'm trying to make it. I'm an island boy and I'm Howard Stern. That's the melody, right? Didn't I get that down?
That was exactly it. And I've never wanted to throw my laptop out of a La Quinta Inn window more in my life than here. And now the version you sang is way better, but these boys, and I'm not sure if they're twins. I know they're brothers, but,
Right.
let's just say this. Their mother should have swallowed. We'll be right back. Now, Howard, I do want to know, I said it in jest earlier, but are you watching the Olympics? Because every year we take the best of the best.
Here's what I want to talk about. The Olympics. Now, this was a big controversy on Twitter. Now, one of my favorites is Leslie Jones. Robin, we love Leslie. We love her. Now, hang on.
Fantastic.
Leslie posts on Twitter that NBC was not allowing her to commentate. And she had the funniest comment. It was so fucking great.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the Olympics, it was her reaction. And now NBC all of a sudden doesn't let her do it. And now I guess she can do it again. Now, wasn't that a crazy thing? It was kind of like, what are they doing? I thought she was the best part of the coverage.
Well, I think it's NBC hating on her because she hosts Supermarket Sweep on ABC, right, and there's a little bit of competition. Right. But also, they realize that she's getting better ratings than their fucking the games are. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched.
Very interesting.
I haven't watched any of the Olympics. I couldn't tell you the name of one competitor or one event. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, is there an event called skee ball or
Well, actually, it's actually called ski cock, tip of the dick. So it's actually like you ski to the top of the.
And combine the Olympics.
You ski to the top. No, hang on a second. You ski to the top of the mountain, and that's the cock. And you ski to the top of it. So it's the tip of the cock. There you go.
Well, you bring up an interesting point. There's a way to improve viewership, and I think pepper in, start putting some porn stars in some of these events, okay? And I'm not saying just for the nudity factor, but just for the in this year's curling match, there's going to be Tina Big Clit versus
hang on. Let's get
from
specific.
Russia.
Wouldn't this be great? Lana Rhodes doing a half pipe. That would be fun.
Lana Rhodes. Now that's the name of an actual porn star. I said Tina Big Clit. That sounded fictitious.
Right. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I think that actually is a real person, but Lana Rhodes, Tina, whatever. I mean, them at the Olympics with Leslie commentating would be hysterical. I mean, that would really increase the viewership.
I think so.
Dr. Phil, let me ask you. Dr. Phil, do you masturbate?
Oh, why do you think my connection's been so spotty? I'm trying to mix it in here during this interview because I'm a multitasker, and I'm an independent. I'm a survivor.
Now, do you masturbate when you're watching the Olympics? What do you masturbate to, Dr. Phil? What gets you off?
I'm one of those old school. I use my imagination type kids. It's like. It's like, how you hear people that go, I can't use a Kindle. I still like holding the actual book. Well, I don't like looking at porn because I got plenty of fucked up things still floating around up here. I mean, the internet wishes what's interesting could get inside my head. There's some stuff on Pornhub that the X-rated version of Pornhub is in here. And if I could find a way to get it out onto the internet, I'd be a gazillionaire because I got some fucked up shit.
What's so fascinating?
I'll eat a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, Howard, and think of the craziest scenarios, right? Here's one, for example. Guy, stepdaughter, here's the title, ready? Stepdaughter babysits stepson and his best friends, plural, and the football team. So we're talking at least 45 to 50 gentlemen and one girl. And then, birthday clown enters with stepmom who shows stepson, how to work a VCR, buttfuck city.
Right. Now, you forgot about tickling, but what's amazing about this, about your analogy with the Kindle and the book, is kind of what I think about terrestrial radio and Sirius XM versus all this bullshit with Rogan and podcasts, because it's about the old school, the art of the conversation. And I know they think they're doing it, right? They think they're doing it with this new stuff, but it's not the same. This is what is meant to be done. Conversations like these on the Howard Stern show, not fake shows where anybody can just start some crap. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we have a freedom with our media outlet where you can say, and that's the one thing I agree with Joe, is that you truly get to say whatever the fuck you want, but it's like, look, you don't believe everything. Pick and choose. It's a choose your own adventure world. When the groundhog pops out of the fucking ground, do I really believe that's what dictates more winter? No, because I'm not a fucking idiot, Howard. It's a goddamn rodent. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what time it is, let alone what the weather's going to look like in 2 months from now.
Dr. Phil, speaking of groundhogs popping out, can you stand up? Because I feel like you might have some wood, right? Let's just prove it to the crowd. Oh, do you have anything? You going to pack it? What are you going to flip and tuck? What's going on?
I'm pretty well. so I do something every couple months where it's called a flat line, where I sit on it. I tuck it underneath. I sit on one of my balls, and the other one lets out to breathe, just to show that there's no favoritism. I switch it up. I go, you guys are in this together, but no pain, no gain. But I will say this. I get jealous. I get jealous when I see people tuck it all the way under. Have you ever been
now hang on.
at a gym lock?
I want
to
talk about this. I want to talk about this tuck-in method. Now, a lot of men are Robin, have you heard about this? You have. A lot of men are doing this thing. It's called the flip and tuck. It's an unbelievable practice. The premise is this: you get a boner, right? You get a boner, and then you stand up and you flip it, kind of like around the pants, and then it's kind of pressed against the belly button, your favorite sexual area.
Whoa!
Now, what's amazing about this tactic is it effectively hides the boner.
Sure.
Now, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just turn it on and off quickly? It's tough for men. It's easier if you have a small penis.
I think so. I think it's easier in general in life if you have a small penis. There's less pressure. You don't have to overcompensate.
Why do you say that? Because if you have a small penis, how is there less pressure? If you have an enormous horse cock, you're going to want to walk down the street wearing nothing. I mean, why would you even wear clothes?
Well, in my experience, the people I know in my life who have who are well endowed, don't go out of their way. They just go, these are the cards I was dealt. But my friends who
right.
and most of them,
that's called big dick energy, BDE.
Sure, and there is big BPE as well, big pussy energy.
What is that?
Big pussy energy.
Right.
But and I only know about that because I watch the new Sex and the City, and they don't talk about it, but they refer to it. And I think that, as you go through life, whether it's school or work or if you're involved in some sort of weird sim game where you're meeting people
right.
from all over the world, you're in chat rooms, chat roulette, okay? Or even just making chit chat on the subway, which, the last time I was on a New York subway, if you see something, say something. I wish I had spoken up because
right.
I saw a man peeing on a man's
right.
butt.
Hang on a second. Let me ask you a question. You saw a man taking a piss on a guy's butt, not even in the crack, on the butt.
On the butt, as if the butt
falling
was the
to the side like a fountain.
Didn't even touch the cheeks, didn't spread it, just peed on the butt. And the man
why do you think I'm spending so much time in the Hamptons? I mean, you think I want to be in the city? It's disgusting. I'm a clean
freak. As far away from that shithole. It's the opposite of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's just you walk in, there's no music, there's no dwarves, there's no candy bars.
Doopity-doo.
Oh, I would love to. That's a good day on a subway if you see an Oompa Loompa. A bad day is a man peeing on a butt. Now, I don't ask any questions because it's not my job to speak up or stop it. But it is my job to make sure that the guy getting peed on wakes up in time to get to his stop, because that man was asleep in a position
that makes sense.
Now, I'm not saying he was asking for it. If you fall asleep,
that makes sense.
But his pants were down and he was, face down on the subway bench. So devil's advocate, next time sleep upward with your pants pulled up.
Right, absolutely.
But, I digress. I am a sucker for those subway performers, though. I'm always looking to donate.
Now, speaking of, subway, you're looking to donate what?
Money. I'm always looking to give money to Girl Scouts or, a cappella groups.
Wait a second. Does Dr. Phil ride the subway often? I'm confused.
No, I'm more of an Uber Eats, Uber Pool guy, right? I take they have cars.
So when are you looking? So when are you looking to donate? When are you ever in that situation? You donate to your Uber driver? What are you talking about?
Many times I'll get into a car where there's not enough gum choices, so I'll go to my local CVS, Walgreens, and stock up on gum and mints. And always leave a little treat behind, because one thing I've constantly reviewed Ubers for is shitty selection of gum and mints. Okay, I've gotten into
Right.
cars where they've had Bubblicious,
It's crazy.
but only one flavor.
Bubblicious. It's like having Big League Chew, right? It's like having Big League Chew. What the hell is Bubblicious?
The only
Big Red. Now,
time you
hang on a
get Big
second.
League
I wanna
Chew,
pivot.
the only time you get a Big League Chew, a wad of Big League Chew, is if you're
Right.
a newly, widowed divorcee at a t-ball game, shit faced.
Did you just say a wad?
What
Did you just say a wad?
what
of
is
Big
that?
League Chew?
A wad of Big League Chew.
Right. As in
know,
like
if
a
you
wad of cum or something. Is
Oh
that what
yeah,
you're saying?
the word wad, Howard, can be used in many different instances, whether it's
Right.
cum or gum or interesting
How
story.
about like cum gum? You ever have cum gum?
Well, I haven't, but I have been to a Fluff and Fold where the Korean gals when they told me there was gum on my trousers, it sounded like cum, and there was a very attractive woman behind me, and they kept saying there's cum on your pants, and I said keep it down, bitch.
Jesus.
And it turned out to be gum, but their G's sound like C's, and there lies the difference.
Dr. Phil, do you mind if I pivot to another conversation with you?
Pivot away.
Now, earlier today on my show, we had Dana Carvey, who actually, he only follows about 8 people on Instagram.
Sure.
One of which is this guy, Adam Ray. And Adam Ray is a very funny, he really does make me laugh. He's a dirty guy, but he's funny. He's funny. Now, Dana and I were talking about the fact that no one can do a good impression of me. Now, Dr. Phil, do you think anybody does a good impression of you? And do you think anybody does a good impression of me?
I think that there's, Tom Selleck and I used to golf every Wednesday, and that guy is a sleeper for impressions. This guy goes around,
It's about the mustache. It's about the mustache.
He's almost
Something
hiding
about
behind
a mustache makes you more sensitive to understand how people sound.
Well,
I think it's I got to do one of those. Here, look at
that
this.
and the
You
drugs.
can do this? Like this?
I've said for years you should grow out a goatee, but that's just because I have, these weird fantasies about how people should look. But
Right. And what's your fantasy about me? How should I be looking? Tell me. What can I do? I'm obsessed with how I look. I hate how I look. I think I'm disgusting. But if you had to tell me, I got a burp. If you were to tell me how much, what I should look like, what do you think I should look like? Tell me.
Well, if I were to give you one of those Today Show surprise makeovers, I would I would shave your head, and I would grow your beard out, and I would put you in a tuxedo, and I would send you to the Olive Garden,
Jesus.
and I would tell you to say the following lines. Excuse me, I'm meeting my friend Craig here. He said you guys have breadsticks the size of dildos. And if they let you stay, then you know this is the new you that's going to be received
You would shave
well.
if you shaved my head, I'd look like some sort of a bird. I mean, I haven't had short hair like that since private parts. I mean, it's not going to work out for me. I don't want that to happen.
Has your hair always been that long?
The hair is my thing.
Yeah, it is your
thing.
No,
I'm going for kind of an Axl Rose kind of a vibe. I want it to be kind of poofing out like a Jufro. You know what I'm saying?
Now, Jufro is a name for a great cover band, but it's also, where did it start? Did a Jewish guy grow his hair out first, or did some rabbi look down at something he was circumcising and say this baby's got a Jufro of pubes?
I think what happened was it was the first circumcision, and when it happened in the Bible or the Torah, whatever you want to call it. When this circumcision happened, the rabbi said, Jew, fro, that's my fro. Like it's his bro, but it's his fro. And he said that referring to the baby Jew's penis. And so in that sense, he was bros with the penis. So a Jew fro comes to life. Does that make sense?
It does. And it does. I've never thought of it like that, but that's also because I don't read. So when I hear any good story, I have to remind myself is this the beginning, the middle, or the end of it? Because most of my stories
Right.
just are like you get the setup
I
and
think
then
it
I
is.
trail off. Like
I think it is.
I'm real good at going to parties and planting seeds, but not driving things home. Like I'll order at the drive-through window, but I won't wait for the food. Does that make sense? I'll get in the hot tub and say, "Hey, did you guys hear about what Alex Jones said about the aliens coming?" And then I'll get out of the hot tub.
Guy, all right. Speaking of Alex Jones, I want to give you a fuck, marry, kill. You ready for this, Dr. Phil?
These are great. Yeah, please.
All right. So I want you to fuck one, marry one. Then you gotta fucking kill one. Okay. And by the way, if you're married, there's no divorce, there's no prenup. You gotta fucking marry. Fuck, marry, kill.
Wow.
Joe Rogan.
Wow.
Alex Jones and Matt Gaetz.
Well, immediately what comes to my head is,
I mean, this is a tough one.
yeah, this is a true conundrum. I'm gonna say Alex Jones looks like, a guy that you don't want to marry because you don't want to have to be around him too long. So I'd say fuck him because of his, he's also, I'm a chubby chaser,
Right.
So is my
Do you just
my
say
wife.
Chevy Chase? Chevy Chase.
I'm a Chevy Chase chubby chaser, yeah. So
Right,
I like to
Okay, go ahead.
I like to go after bigger gals that look like Chevy Chase. So
Jesus.
I'd
And
say
after you're done having sex with these gals, do they say I'm Chevy Chase and you're not?
boy, yes. I'd kill was my wife one of the options? No.
No, she's not in the game.
Great.
You gotta fuck one, marry one, and kill one.
I'd
Go
probably
ahead.
fuck Alex Jones just for the story. I'd marry Joe Rogan because of that $100 million contract he just signed, which is financial stability, and then I would kill Matt Gaetz because he reminds me of an old PE teacher I had who had halitosis, and that's something we don't discuss enough.
What is halitosis? I've never heard of this.
Imagine walking into a department store and asking someone who works there, "Hey, do you guys sell shirts?" And then they cough in your mouth, okay, and a bucket of diarrhea falls on you from the ceiling.
And
they go,
disgusting.
They go, "Welcome to Nordstrom's. Things are different since COVID around here. Get the fuck out of our store."
God.
That's what Matt Gaetz reminds me of when I look at pictures of him online. He looks like a guy who steals lemonade from children. He looks like a guy who plays those slot machines at the casino. But as soon as he's done playing, he goes and robs an old lady, and then
he does,
and then goes up to his room and aggressively screams his own name while he comes, and that's the type of man that
I agree. I agree.
So I would
Phil,
kill him. I also think we have enough Matts in the
Jesus.
world.
Matt's. Well, my favorite is that Matt Friend. I mean, he's sexy.
He's
He's
fantastic.
sexy. He is, and so is Adam Ray. And my head is so fucking hot right now in this wig. This is driving me insane.
This has been fantastic, and I just want to thank you again for coming by, Howard, because it's been too long. Last time I saw you was in the Hamptons. We were jet skiing. You had all sorts of cracker plates out.
Don't tell people about the jet skis. I don't want them to think my audience. I don't want them to get the idea that I'm some sort of an adventurous guy. I don't do that. I just watch the jet skis.
You had them for the fun. Yeah, you're more of a watcher than a doer, and we appreciate that. But it was a good time, and this will, we'll do this many more times. But for the people,
we definitely will.
But for the people listening, I've just been getting a lot of DMs about people wanting to hear real conversations with real people instead of catch me outside, whore bags and other sorts of, real people aren't as interesting as celebrities. It's case in point. So
I agree. And I'm definitely real. So I appreciate that.
Well, God bless you, Howard, and I'll see you on the flip side. And
God bless you.
And
by the way, one last thing. Hey, now. Fantastic.
I was trying to figure out how to.
This has really been fantastic. I mean, Robert, is Dr. Phil? He's got in it. This is an interview. This is a great conversation.
Well, because we addressed the real shit, and when I close my show out, I always
we got it. We got into it. And one last question for you, Dr. Phil. You're a famous TV doctor, right? So my question is, Dr. Oz, he's gone off the deep end. This guy is crazy. He's criticizing Dr. Fauci. He's running for office. Would you ever run for office? And what do you think of this guy, Mehmet? Because if your name is Mehmet, like Mehmet, not like Mehmet from the show. I mean, like Mehmet, Mehmet, whatever the hell. This guy's got to be insane. What do you think about what he's doing? It's unbelievable. I mean, he's crazy.
He's drawn a lot of attention to himself. I think that anytime a doctor gets in the news and gets a lot of attention for look, here are my favorite doctors in no particular order. Okay, Dr. Evil, Dr. Pimple Popper,
right.
and Dr. Pepper. But I don't think that we should be ignoring the medical doctors that want to help try to shift the narrative. But Fauci, is he real? TBD. Dr. Oz, does he have a foot fetish? We don't know, but probably. I think that if you get out there and you talk too much, you can overstay your welcome. And I try to, if I'm going to run for any public office, it's going to be to be CEO of the Burger King's Kids Club. We'll be right back. But I'm not allowed.
Well, listen. If I've said this, if speaking of running for office, if I ran for president in 2024 against Donald Trump, I'm convinced I would beat his ass so hard. It'd be unbelievable. And again, it speaks to my political power. If I had Hillary Clinton on the show in 2016 during that election, she would have won. I'm sure of it. She would have won.
Yeah, you've got an influence.
It's the power of conversation.
It truly is
and
great.
Dr. Phil, I'm grateful to you for having me on.
You're fantastic. I'm going to have, and Donald Trump will be making an appearance on an upcoming Dr. Phil podcast. So stay tuned for that. Because I feel like you got to get to know the other side. You need to hear the other side. And you know who said that? You know who said that? The flick tickle champion of the Northeast, Deepak Chopra.
Indeed, I know.
All right, Howard. Well, it's good to see you, and stay safe out there. Don't you get Omicron on me now. Zoa. Thanks, Rock. Guys, Adam Ray here for the About Last Night podcast. Hope you enjoyed that episode. It was a good one. A lot of laughs, a lot of tears, a lot of stuff to think about and chew on, huh? Because that's what life's all about, chewing on the good stuff. Nobody said that. Maybe Denzel did. Maybe Tom Hanks did. Maybe they said it together in Philadelphia. The point is, click subscribe right here on the ALN logo so you can get more episodes and stay up to date when new content drops, highlights, animations, clips. It's all here for you, baby. I'll see you next time. Whoop, I don't know how to blink.